Hello and welcome to Heartrepreneur TV. I am your co-host Velma Gallant. Super excited to have you here today at Heartrepreneur TV. We have a fantastic and well-loved guest with us today, and I'm super excited to be resharing him with you. Our guest today is Ken Attard. Ken's been successfully working with various clients over the span of 17 years. Now he specializes as a mindset consultant, working with entrepreneurs, helping them to elevate their clarity using his proprietary Cruising to Clarity program. They are able to have financial freedom guaranteed. 20 years plus as an entrepreneur, a father, and a human being like the rest of us. I don't know, I'm not so sure about that. He now understands that business and life don't have to be a continuous struggle and suffering. By shifting the way you think, this will take you to a place that can be easy and fun. So welcome to the show.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm really, really excited as well to be here and to share some really what I consider valuable information to our listeners.
Absolutely. So today's show is called The Mindset Choice, the choice that changes everything. And I would agree with you 100% on that. And I'm really excited to be getting in there. So you and I, before we got in here, I was like, well, this is what I think mindset choice means. And in a lot of ways, even though we serve completely different clienteles, we are supporting with similar things. So when I read the mindset choice, I heard making decisions with a valuable mindset or with a healthy mindset. That's how I read that. So what I want to know is why you picked that title for today's show and what it means to you.
Absolutely. So you are correct in saying that, yet I'm going to take a step backwards. And when I say a step backwards, before you're actually making decisions with a mindset that is, let's say the right mindset, and I'll use that in quotation marks. But before that has to happen, you actually have to make a decision to actually learn about mindset and make a decision to understand what mindset is, to make a decision and realize and have the awareness of how powerful mindset is. Before you can actually get to that point where you're using your mindset purposefully, you have to make a choice to decide to use mindset purposefully. And that's why I chose the mindset choice, because I truly believe that there are many individuals out there, there are business owners out there that still have not made that choice yet. Simply getting lost in all the tasks that are required of an entrepreneur to conduct their business. And there are many, without a doubt. So as I've said many a time, mindset, for some reason, it still seems very airy-fairy for many people. It's very, oh yeah, that mindset stuff. Yet what I'm interested in is, and what I want to tell people is this, is that I would like you to experience business like you've never experienced it before.
I like that. I like that a lot. So what I heard is that what you found with a lot of your clients is they get caught up in the tasks and actually leave mindset at the bottom of that task list. Does that sound about right?
And yeah, that's about right. And it's not that they're not you have to use you're using your mind. Let's hope so. Anyways, let's hope the majority of people are actually using their mind. So you're using it, yet it's very haphazard for most individuals. There's a very small percentage of people that will actually dedicate the time to say, listen, I want to learn about mindset. I want to make it on a consistent basis. And this is what intrigued me to create the mindset choice, is because I wanted individuals to understand. I want you to understand as to why you would make a decision to be dedicated to learning about mindset and be dedicated to it on a daily basis. Now, it's not an undertaking that's going to, inundate you. Far from it. Actually, it's a process that is actually going to, believe it or not, save you a lot of time. And
That
you know how
that
valuable
makes
time is.
exactly, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So what I heard is, um, by supporting people to make the decision that mindset matters, you're supporting them to optimize their mindset inside of their business, or reality is inside of their entire life,
Life, exactly. Exactly. And
right?
that's precisely it, because once you make that decision, once you have that awareness, like, it's no one really at least for myself, no one really at school told me, listen, if you begin to understand that the way you're thinking, your beliefs are having a profound effect on all of the results and the experiences that you're having in your life. If someone had have potentially taught me that at school, I might have said, okay, so if that's the case, how can I shift my beliefs? How can I shift my thinking? How can I learn to do that? Because, right now, there are these results, these experiences that are happening in my life that I'm not really happy with. Yet, for the
Mhm.
most part, many are told, and again, in the entrepreneurial world, it's, we're told that, hey, listen, that's just a fact of life, man. You're gonna suffer through your business. You're gonna sacrifice through your business. Like, be prepared to make tremendous sacrifices. Like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, don't expect to be able to spend enough time with your family, because you got to sacrifice that for your business. And that is simply perspectives of individuals that decided that that was what was good for them, which was their belief. And, unfortunately, I believe in the entrepreneurial world, those beliefs are still being instilled in many an entrepreneur. So it just becomes a fact of life. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. Recently, I saw something, and it was a post or whatever, and they were making it a fact of life that, listen, as a startup business, there's a very good chance you're going to fail. They just made
Yeah.
it a fact of and I get it. The statistics, let's say, show that. And
Mhm.
essentially, statistics can be made to show whatever they want. Yet statistics are showing that. Yet if I'm, instilling and when I say installing into people's heads, this is happening on a consistent basis. People are listening to these stories, and they're being installed with these beliefs, just as children we were installed with those beliefs from our parents, our teachers, and again, not maliciously. It's
No.
not a matter of maliciously. The intent was more than likely very good. Our parents wanted, they were cautious. They wanted us to be mindful that, life isn't all, butterflies and roses, and they want us to understand. Yet at the same time, nowadays, the way I look at it is like, hey, it can be all butterflies and roses depending what I want to look at. And when I say all butterflies and roses, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have my challenges. Yet through those challenges, because now I've understood how, I can use my mind, I can still see the butterflies and roses.
I choose sparkles and sunshine.
Sparkles and sunshine, butterflies and roses, whatever works for the individual. Yeah,
Mhm.
and actually, I was listening today to something about there's actually a beauty prayer. I wrote it down, so I don't have it in
Mm.
front of me, but it's all about, and that's exactly what it is seeing the beauty in everything, seeing the beauty
Mm.
even in the, let's say, challenge, in the struggle.
Absolutely.
And if you can do that,
Absolutely.
it makes a whole. Now we're talking about a whole different ball game, whole
Absolutely. I
different ball
know.
game.
So over the years, we all bump into stuff, right? Like that's just the reality of life, and it will not go away. And yet, if I change my perspective around those events, the event itself doesn't change, but the movie music I play with it does. So when I'm replaying that event, I'm changing my movie music. I saw it on Facebook the other day. It was very creepy. I think I think it was, um, oh, I can't think of the name of the books. Anyways, it was a creepy guy from a movie, an adventure movie, and he was walking towards his victim, but they had romantic music playing.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it just like it
It
changed. And
changed
yeah,
everything.
and it's exactly what you're saying as well. I forget there was I believe there was a Greek philosopher who basically said that I think it was Epictetus or something like that, and he basically said it's what you're thinking about the situation that
Hmm.
is causing the whatever it's causing, essentially the meaning you're putting on it. It's not
Yep.
the situation. It's not the situation. Now the real cool thing, and the thing that I love about this is that when you do begin to shift your perspective and you start to shift your beliefs, then automatically your outside world begins to change as well. So these, let's say, difficult challenges or challengers, they don't start to pop up as much because
Hmm.
now, because you've shifted the way you're thinking, your mindset, now your outside world, because essentially your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. That's why it's
Hmm.
all about doing the inner work and shifting the mindset. Now, when we say mind, I think this is important for people to understand as well. That's It's not the brain. There's a distinct difference between the brain and the mind. The mind is everywhere. The mind is everywhere,
Hmm.
and thoughts are everywhere. You are a receiver and you are a transmitter, and what you are transmitting is what you are receiving. So if I'm looking at my outside world and saying I really don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that, I now need to come back to myself and say, what am I transmitting for me to be able to be seeing that? And this
I,
ties.
I I like that. I like that a lot. And you reminded me of something from like 15 years ago. Um, Network marketing. I'm not participating in network marketing anymore. However, it was an amazing personal growth training ground for me at that time, and I value that time. I remember it being a brand new at it and being worried people would ask me about the money that I make.
Mhm.
And every time I turned around, I was getting asked that question. And yet, the moment I had an answer that had me feel good, I never got that question again
It's
because I
exactly
wasn't
what it is.
worried about it.
That's it. That's it. And again, and this ties in with focus. So like I
Mhm,
it's interesting because I wouldn't be here today if I didn't get involved in network marketing 20 years ago, because
mhm.
that opened the doors for me for personal development. And I have not looked back since then. I'm no longer involved, like you said, or whatever. But it was a fantastic, phenomenal time for me. Tons of learning. And I meet people nowadays, believe it or not, 20 years later, and it's non-existent, like it doesn't exist anymore here. Yet 20 years later, I have people telling me, you know how much I learned during that time? It was so important. It was so important to so many people because there was a lot of personal development, there was a lot of teaching, and it just opened up so many doors. So it's exactly like you're saying. This now the focus, and this is the important thing. It's the focus. Where are people focusing? So the mindset choice, which is essentially a program that I put together, and it's
Mhm.
a short program, and I want it to be available to as many people as possible. But essentially, I talk about choices, predominantly about choices and how we're making the choices. It's your party and you can cry if you want to.
Sparkles and sunshine.
But the thing is, this is the amazing thing, Velma, is that there
Mhm,
are many people who are living a party that, yes, they're crying at their own party. And
mhm.
because there's yet they forget that it's their party. So because it's your party, you get to choose the venue, you get to choose the people you invite, you get to choose the music, you get to choose the food. It's your party. So you don't have to cry, but many choose that, and because it's your party. So I talk about, and that's why it's a choice. This is a choice. You have
Mhm.
a choice. You're not a victim. You are a creator. Yet many are still playing that victim role. And the other thing is focus, what you were just talking about as well. I talk a lot about focus. And again, this is where I believe many people actually sabotage themselves
Mhm.
because because they their focus is predominantly on the things that they don't want, that they're predominantly on the things that aren't working in their life or appear not to be working in their life. And their focus is predominantly there. Hence, they continue to reap that. They continue to attract that. They continue to bring that into their life because that is all they're seeing. Now, the mind, if there's a belief that, the world is cruel, let's say someone has a belief that the world is cruel. If there's that belief there, the mind is going to look at the outside world for things to justify your belief.
We are always on fact-finding missions, aren't we?
It's going to justify your belief, and you're going to go, you see, look, another cruel thing, another cruel thing, another cruel thing, and it will keep on justifying it. So now shifting that focus and recognizing that, wait a second, but I have this that I'm, this is working really well in my life. This is working really well. This is really nice. I have a loving relationship. I have this, and I have all. Now I've shifted and I've started to recognize these. As you begin to do that, again, your mind is going to look for things in the outer world to justify it. And
I'd rather have a bunch of I told you so's about awesome stuff.
That's it. That's it. So now you start to just reap that, and it starts to shift. Now, the cool thing is this. So as you're looking at what appears to be your reality, your outside world, and it appears to be your reality, but as you begin to do that, when you start to look at and you're seeing good things, what happens is it comes right back to you, and your mind automatically starts to think of more good things. So it becomes a snowball effect. Now, it first starts in the mind. So it first starts with your beliefs. That's where it starts. Yet the cool thing is when you do see that appear in your outside world and you go, okay, that's really cool. What happens is it comes back to you, and now, again, you think of more things to like. So it becomes a snowball effect. So mind to outside world, back to mind to outside world, back to mind, outside world. So things, thoughts becoming things, thoughts becoming things. And that becomes a snowball effect. And now all of a sudden, your world begins to change. Yet so many are still living in that zone where they're just looking at all the things that they don't want and continuing to reap that. Now, learning how to do that, learning how to shift that is the key component. That is the key component. Something very simple. One of the easiest ways to do that. Appreciate.
100%.
Just wake up and show some appreciation to something, whether it was the pillow you just slept on, the bed you just slept on, the I don't know, the interactions that you had the day before, the fact that the sun came up, the whatever it is, show appreciation. Begin your day like that so that you set the tone for the day. And now as you begin to do that, your outside world begins to change. And now you begin to take that into your outside. You take that elevated emotion of appreciation into your business, into all of your interactions, wherever they are. And you begin to do that. And it just changes the whole experience 100%, especially when you begin to realize, this is what I love about personal development and actually going into understanding, your core essence. The beauty of your core essence, which essentially is pure love. It's in actual fact indescribable in words. We attempt to use words, yet when you really tap into your core and who you truly are, and then on top of that, begin to realize that everyone is the same. The bodies are different. but the bodies are insignificant. It's the core that is everything. So we look beyond the bodies and taking those into a business meeting. And if I can see that that other person is exactly the same as me
Hmm.
in a business where I'm not out to hurt them, I'm not out to be on top. I'm not out because if I'm out to hurt them, I'll only be hurting myself.
You know, it's really true, and I know these types of conversations can get really esoteric, and I love these conversations. And at the same time, they can be quite practical, because as I'm
Mhm.
listening to you, and you're talking about how do I walk into that business meeting, and you're talking about how we start our days, and appreciate walking in with appreciation. I mean, I can walk into a business meeting and go, I really appreciate that this person has given me some of their time. I
Mhm.
really appreciate that I'm getting an opportunity to come up alongside someone, whether they be my client or I might be their client. We get to come up alongside of each other and move together side by side. And so shifting how I appreciate them, I think can have an impact on it, because even if I walk away from something, so say for example, I'm having a discussion with a prospective client. Even if
Mhm.
I walk away and they don't become a prospective client, I got to meet somebody awesome. I got to have a great conversation. And the reality is I don't necessarily see or know what kind of impact I had on that person, what kind of impact they may have on me. There's so many unknowns. And what if
Absolutely.
what if I walked in with, gee, I wonder what awesome is going to come out of this, and get
It
curious.
it changes it's a game changer. And not only that, like you have, like you said, you have that potential to have an impact on that person. If they can walk away, if I'm having an interaction with someone, I mean, it's one of the things that I love when having interactions. And one of my objectives most of the time when I have interactions is that I want that person to walk away feeling a little bit better than they felt before we had met. If they can walk
Mhm,
away feeling that much better, or maybe with a potentially a different perspective, or, and again, not because one is right or wrong, but if they can walk away feeling good about themselves, that's
mhm,
really cool. And this is, I think, is the crux of everything as well when it comes to mindset, because we don't need to complicate things. We can keep it really simple. And I don't even like to talk about really and truly nowadays. I don't really like to talk about a positive mindset. um, I think that's I prefer to speak about
mhm,
a good feeling mindset. So it's about creating a good feeling. So with my thoughts, whatever I'm thinking about, predominantly, I want to think about things that are potentially making me feel good. Now, I
mhm,
understand things do come up and whatever. Yet again, when we're starting to see the beauty in everything, it's the tendency is I'm still going to feel good about it. Whether it even was a challenge. Oh, there's a challenge. Oh, this potentially is an opportunity. How can we turn this around? How can I make this better? And again, feeling good about that. So if I can continue in that good feeling mindset, it's just going to be a natural thing that good feeling things are going to happen. And
absolutely.
yeah, and if I can continue to do that, so what does it take to feel good? I mean, what does it take what do you need to think about to feel good? It could be as simple as, even when you're going through a challenging moment, to think about, if right now, if I said to you, Velma, I want you to think about your son, there's a smile on your face right away.
Mhm,
Automatically, you go to a good place. For the majority of people, for most, when it comes to fat, a lot of times that happens. Yet you could just think about your favorite food, and potentially a smile could come on your face, right? So I can be prepared beforehand when I'm even going through a challenging moment, and take myself back to, okay, what can I appreciate here? Just a second. So I keep my elevated emotion of good feeling, and this is the crux, because it is the emotional manifestation that comes first
mhm.
before
Absolutely.
the physical manifestation.
So what I'm hearing is that one of the valuable things as we go through understanding mindset, first of all, making the choice to have a healthy mindset. I like the word healthy.
Yeah, works.
Simply because I do understand that stuff happens, right?
Hmm.
And so sometimes the choice is simply, how do I feel just a little bit better right now? Just a
Absolutely.
little bit. I don't have to go from here, here to my sparkles and sunshine. Maybe I
Not
just
at
need
all.
a little
Yeah,
sparkle.
yeah, and let me make something very clear as well. So this is like, you're going to have those. There are going to be times when potentially you could be angry. There are going to be
Mhm.
times when you're feeling, I don't know, you have someone who's feeling very depressed. So you don't go from depressed to joy
Mm-mm.
in a jump. You know what the quickest way to pull someone out of being feeling depressed
Mm.
is you get them angry. Take them
Mm.
to anger, because anger is a higher frequency. That's the first step, and that's okay, because in that anger they're going to feel a sense of relief for a little while, and then from anger we can move them up. We can move them up to hope.
That makes a lot of sense to me. One of my previous coaches from, geez, almost 20 years ago, had a process where um, we called it the diva bitch walk. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what she
yeah,
called it.
I gotcha.
And it's fantastic because what I got out of it was I'm starting with what's not quite right, and I'm bitching to my heart's content. And as I walk, I continue to do that and I get it all out. And what I found for me is by the time I got it all out and I would start flipping into what I did want. And I was just as passionate about what I wanted as I was while I was bitching.
Yeah,
And so that makes a lot of sense to me because in a way I was angry about what I wanted,
exactly. And what it does, like I
right?
said, it elevated that frequency. It elevated your vibration, because it's, I mean, it's still a low vibrate, but it elevated from where you were. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a sense of relief, and you feel that relief and you go, oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
And
started
then
out
from
angry
there,
about it.
yeah, but then from there we can start to move you up one and say, listen, you know what, okay, okay, now we can move you up to potentially up to courage, or
Mhm.
potential hope, and then courage. And courage is the tipping point, and then from courage, you know, you have the courage to move forward, and now we can take and you continue to elevate. And we're gonna have, like, you know, there are going to be times when we, you know, we go in and out. There are going to be times, I would love to say that I never get angry. That would be wonderful, but it happens.
Well, and
It's okay.
there's healthy ways
Yeah.
to be angry and there's unhealthy ways to be angry.
Yes,
There's healthy
absolutely.
ways
So
to be sad and unhealthy ways. So
absolutely.
it
And
is.
learning as
Okay.
well. So if we would just tie in with that, so
Mhm.
nowadays I handle that in a much different way than I would have handled it 20 years ago.
Mm, right.
Right. And not only that, yeah, absolutely. Again, and this is where I like to let people off the hook as well. Like, it's really important to understand that, you know, you are where you are, and it's perfectly
Mhm.
fine. And you may have went through different stages in your life where there were certain things, and you look back and potentially you go, ooh, I really did not handle that well, or, you know, I would have done this differently. Yet
Mhm.
remember this: when you were going through it at that time, you were handling it in with what you had at that point in
Mhm.
time, in the best way you felt you could at that point in time. You know, now you might be a different person. You might have had new perspectives. You might have realized, you might have grown, and that's fine. And so you don't have to beat yourself up.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to beat yourself up. So yeah, so definitely, you know, learning how to handle things in a way that, and more importantly, that you really don't have to stay there very long
Okay.
anymore. I don't need to. I can get angry, but it's very brief.
So we are at the end of our time and there's some really important things. I know it goes by so fast, so fast. Like I could have talked for another half an
I
hour
know.
on this.
I know.
Um, I want people to know. So you have you said a short program that's called Mindset
The mindset
Choice,
choice.
the
The
Mindset
mindset
Choice.
choice. The
Okay.
choice that changes everything. That's the
So
program.
tell me a little bit, just tell me briefly what that program is about. What is somebody going to get from that program?
So what they're going to get is they're going to understand why mindset is an absolute must, why they want to choose mindset. They're going to understand about their focus, what we were talking about now, and potentially how they are sabotaging themselves right now because their focus, they think, is on what they want. In actual fact, is on what they don't want, and why that is having an effect on their results. So they're going to understand more about that as well. They're also going to understand on how they can begin to move forward just by being consistent and being dedicated to the mindset choice. Another factor that is really important is this is not a program that is going to inundate you. It's a fairly short program. In altogether, they will go through about 2.5 hours of videos. And it's at no financial investment whatsoever. They can have access to this completely free of charge.
So I get a free mini toolkit to get me started?
You get a free, say that again?
Free
Oh,
mini toolkit to get me started.
absolutely. And I say this up front, like if you watch this and we never have a conversation again and you walked away with value, I am totally good with it. I will be over the moon with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. We never know who we impact and how much we impact, and that ends up rippling out in amazing ways. Okay. So, for those of you who are listening and don't get to see this, the website is growth for the number 4 entrepreneurs.com. I've got it up on the screen. Head on over there and you'll be able to, is that where they register?
Yeah,
Or
they can get it. They can get some information about it. There's actually I actually make it really simple for them. Put in a short video telling them exactly why they're going to benefit from the program and how they're going to benefit from the program, and then they can actually register for the program directly from there as well.
Perfect. Okay. It's up on the website. For those of you in Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine, we will have the link in there for your convenience. And for those of you out in YouTube land, it is up on their screen there, and you should be able to get to it quite easily. And for those of you out in YouTube land, come on over to Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine and join our Facebook group. You're going to be able to hang out with some really amazing heart-based entrepreneurs, business owners like Ken, like myself, like Terry, and we have more than 8,000 amazing people in this community, and we'd love to have you too. So thanks for showing up. Thank you, Ken, for your time and
Absolute
your
pleasure.
conversation. This was fantastic, but then we always have great conversations. So
Always.
always, always. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next Heartrepreneurs TV. Have an absolutely brilliant day.